I've been using the M4 Mac Mini for quite some time now. It's been literally just over a week, and there's a few things I like, some maybe to dislike, and in this video we're just basically going to be talking about my experience and how it's been overall for me so far. The most talked about thing about this new M4 Mac Mini is its size. You can see how it compares to the Apple TV. Not too much of a difference here on top, but then when you go to the sides, you can see it's much thicker, of course, than the Apple TV. But if you are comparing it to its predecessor, the previous Mac Mini that was available before this, then you are going to see a reduction in size and weight, and it adds to its portability. So if you have a carry-on bag that you want to be able to throw this in and go about your day, then this is definitely going to make it much easier to do that. Something else that the Mac Mini gets for the first time is this braided power cable. It's not something that we've seen before. It's good to see that Apple has added it right here, so it will give you a longer lifespan out of the cable as compared to the previous cables. And if you are bending it or you are twisting it, then it's also going to last longer than the previous standard cables. One of the first things that I wanted to do when I got my new M4 Mac Mini was actually connect it to a power source using my Apple TV cable. But just to put it out there, the cable ratings are actually much different because the chip and the internals of the Apple TV, they are much different than what it's in the M4 Mac Mini. So the power cable here is rated for 2.5 amps, while on the Mac Mini it's actually rated for 7 amps. So this is a more higher capacity cable because it's packing an Apple M4 chip, and yes, this is the base model. So definitely don't use your Apple TV power cable to power up your Mac Mini if you want to avoid damaging your device. The speeds that I was getting when I ran the Blackmagic SSD speed test on my base model Mac Mini, you can see right here the speeds both for write and read speeds. It's actually pretty good, averaging around 2000 both for write and read. But then if you do a lot of I/O, like a lot of peripheral device and send data back and forth, or you want to edit off of an external hard drive, then you might want to look at upgrading from the base model M4 Mac Mini to perhaps like the M4 Pro, since that one doubles the speed. And at the same time, when I was looking into the SSD issue or looking at SSD related Mac Mini research, I found this. So it seems that a number of users on Reddit found that a certain batch or a few selected Mac Minis might potentially be utilizing used SSDs. This user, among others, if you follow this thread right here, they noticed that their Mac Mini base model with 256 storage had about 60 terabytes of reads and had about 24 terabytes of writes. Now, usually for a new device, that's not what it should be. It should have only about this low of a digit number just for testing purposes, because usually before Apple ships out these devices, they do testing just to make sure it meets their standards, but they usually don't reach those high of a number. And you can see right here that for an average 256 terabyte drive, they usually rated for about 150 terabyte written endurance. So if it's almost written about 24 terabytes, then it leaves you, about 126 terabytes of written endurance. It doesn't sound too bad, but at the same time, this is like a chunk of your SSD lifespan that you could have otherwise utilized to prolong your lifespan of your Mac Mini. But the good thing is, this, when I was looking into it, it could be a software issue, it could be just a few selected batch maybe, but I'll leave the article in the description of this video so that you can look at it for yourself. But from the way I've been able to see my Mac Mini, it doesn't seem to be experiencing the same issue using the same means that they were able to look at. Even though the performance of this new Mac Mini has been pretty well praised, one of the things that I found to be average is the speaker. It almost looks like a speaker box, and I thought it would have a lot more bass and a lot more punch to what it holds and how it looks like, and especially with the openings, just to give it a more rich bass. But just to put it out there, the sound is not the best, but if you are in a place where you don't have any external speakers or AirPods or something like that. It does have a built-in internal speaker. It's pretty average, but in my opinion, it's also fairly good. This is a sample of how it sounds. It's almost 2025, and the most disliked thing about the new Mac Mini is not the fact that the base starting storage in almost 2025 is 256 gigs. I think that needs to change personally, but when it comes to this device, this is the most complained thing about it. So a number of users have complained that the location of this power button is an inconvenience, especially, you do need to press this button when you are turning it on for the first time, or if it happens to freeze and you need to force restart, then you need to press and hold this power button. But the location, I do agree, is not the best. But if you usually place your Mac Mini on the table like this and you don't move it around or play around with it so much, why can't you just put it to the side like this, upside down, and now you have access to the power button, and at the same time the airflow is going to be more better in this case. And this is your solution to this problem. Now, there have been a lot of devices that have been 3D printed, other CAD drawings that have been made to try and solve this problem. If you were to go on Reddit and try and find one pin or connector that solves the power button issues for the Mac Mini, you're definitely going to find multiple options. But for me, I don't typically turn off my Mac that often. I think for Mac, you don't need to turn it off that much or that many times, because putting it to sleep is more than enough if you are trying to save like power. Plus, this is more of a desktop computer, so it just stays on your table. Put it in sleep mode, and next time if you have like a Magic trackpad or you have another device or the Magic keyboard, just press it and it wakes up automatically, and you don't have to face the inconvenience of the power button. On this device, I ran a couple of tests, including Final Cut Pro. I also ran the Geekbench 6 test, and I also ran like speed drives test as well. And I was surprised at how cool this device remained, and at the same time the fans. I couldn't even tell that there's fans inside here, so it is a powerful device, and it's impressive how it's able to have this much power and also work this silent. So if you just use it for regular tasks, then you probably won't hear the fans as often, if you're coming worse from an Intel Mac. And I saw an article that mentioned that this device is actually more powerful than some of the computers that they are using at NASA, which is crazy and mind-blowing to think about. One of the disadvantages for me when it comes to the new Mac Mini is the fact that Apple decided to turn every port that it has for I/O to USB-C. If you have peripheral devices such as mice, keyboards, or other things that you want to connect that are USB-A, then you are going to need some of these dongles or adapters like this that turn your USB-C port to USB-A in order to use it, which is going to be an added cost. But it seems like Apple is completely pushing towards a USB-C Mac lineup, so all the ports eventually on their Macs are becoming Thunderbolt 5 or Thunderbolt 4 in this case for the base model Mac Mini. And this is everything here is basically USB-C, and you need to get an extra device to be able to connect. If you are interested in accessories for the new M4 Mac Mini, well, I have some not so great news, especially if you are an Apple fanboy or fan person that stays in the ecosystem. You can see basically these accessories that Apple has upgraded that are new, and the only new thing that Apple released for these are USB-C. The Magic Mouse still has the inconvenience location for the port, but you can see the prices for these is that for the Magic Mouse, $100, and it does change, of course, depending on the color. You can see the white color for most of these accessories is a cheaper alternative. So, but you can generally see the amount that you are expected to pay if you want the Magic keyboard with Touch ID and numeric pad. If you want the Magic trackpad, I bought the white one. And if you want the Magic Mouse, you can see what it's going to cost you or how much, and you can see other accessories that you can get if you are like a gamer, and other, if you want to use it as a microphone and use it for maybe podcasting or other functions. You can see here you have quite a number of accessories, but if you are going to stay in the Apple ecosystem, then yes, expect to pay a hefty price for these. If you are interested in buying the new Mac Mini device and you are a student or know someone who could benefit from this little device improving their workload, then you don't actually have to pay the $599 price tag. You can pay $499, which means you save $100, and that's by using the pricing for education or for students. And that's one way that I was able to acquire mine. Yes, I am a student, and for $499, this is actually hard to beat, even though it has 256 storage. Now, the base model Mac Mini is going to have plenty enough of power, actually more than enough for the average user. If you're going to be doing spreadsheets, if you're going to be browsing multiple tabs, the base RAM was improved or upgraded to 16 gigs, so it does come with 16 gigs of RAM, and at the same time the M4 chip has proved to be kind of powerful. It's almost on par with the M1 Pro chip, actually slightly more powerful, and in some cases it's almost coming in like very close proximity or distance to the M1 Max, which is crazy. And if, in my opinion, you are a person that does 3D rendering, or you are editing 8K footage in Final Cut Pro or other similar heavy duty tasks, then maybe the base model might not be the one for you. I would recommend in that case the M1 Pro, since it does improve performance much better, and at the same time the SSD speeds are doubled. If you are interested in accessories, since the M4 Pro comes with Thunderbolt 5, you can see here like Zollotech already has the device that supports Thunderbolt 5. It's a 4TB external SSD, and in some cases it's averaging around about 4,000 to 5,000 megabits per second, meaning that if you're a person that edits or want to use it as an external SSD without compromising on the speeds, then Thunderbolt 5 on the M4 Pro is going to make it possible for you. So that's just my quick take right here on the new Mac Mini M4. Let me know what you like or dislike about this device, and at the same time, if you are interested in one, I'll leave links to it in the description of this video. I might scoop up the Magic keyboard, since I already have the Magic trackpad, so that's the only thing that I'm missing to complete my setup right here. And if that's something you want to see, definitely do subscribe so that you don't miss out. My name is Ben, and I'm signing off. Peace.